Hey guys, how are you all today? I hope you're all in fine fettle. Well, here we are, it's the end of June and I just thought I'd have a bit of a catch up with you. Excuse me a sec. End of month 2. I'm still in one piece. I don't actually know where the time's gone in June. It's been crazy. I'll be quite honest with you all. I am going to be glad to see the back of June. It's been an it's been an absolute rubbish month. I'm okay. I'm almost back to my normal chirpy self. But there have been some real kind of emotional slogs through June which they've really impacted on me and my ability to do my life or have this life that I'm trying to have at the moment. So I think it is worth talking about because, like I say, because things have impacted on me, and if you're trying to go alone, then you kind of need to think about these things and how you deal with them. So, I mean, obviously we've had a month of just really horrible global events, a number of them in my hometown. That's obviously had an impact on me. Had a couple of family issues going on, one of which is resolved, one of which is kind of ongoing. My elderly relative that I look after, she lives quite away from me, and so I've been having to do a lot of commuting backwards and forwards, and it's a long commute. It's sort of anywhere between 6 and 7 hours, so doing that every couple of days or so has been a bit exhausting, and obviously in the back of my mind I'm always thinking about her and worrying about her, so that's had a big impact. But also just general sort of outside influences, other people, sort of their negativity coming in to me and impacting on me. I'm quite a sensitive person, and so I think what happens with me is that I get quite tired physically because of emotional sort of strains, if you like. Yeah, there've been a couple of days where I've just wanted to stay under my duvet and sob for the day, but I haven't, because the time has been excuse me, time has been really precious because of everything that's been going on. So even when I've just wanted to say I've had enough, it's like, well, I need to get to the garden. I need to plant that garden. That garden is going to feed me for the year. If I don't do it, no one will. If I don't do it, no food. And that's kind of had me thinking, reflecting the last few days, that I haven't used the word self-sufficiency about this year on purpose, because I'm not trying to be self-sufficient. No way. Haven't got enough space. I've said all along that there will be things I buy from the shop still, so oil, rice, lemons, that sort of thing. But I think it is useful to think in terms of self-reliance rather than self-sufficiency, which is why I'm talking about all this other stuff as well, because so when I had to stop work, I also ended quite a long-term relationship just because it was taking more from me than it was giving to me. So I'm on my own. I have to rely on me. So I have to rely on myself to plant my garden, to bring the food in, to feed myself. But also emotionally, I have to rely on myself. So I think my default setting, if you like, is kind of quite happy and optimistic. That's me. And what I've realised as this month has gone on is that I've been letting all those other things get to me too much. So what I need to do is change the way I respond to things. So yes, when we see these tragic events in the news, I will respond with empathy. I will respond with volunteering if that's appropriate. With the more personal things, well, obviously family always comes first. There's no doubt about that. I'll always stand by family. But all the other nonsense, friends having dramas, I just have to leave it alone. That's fine. I was also thinking in terms of this sort of self-reliance, I think a lot of us fantasize about, you know, living in a cabin in the mountains or in the woods or somewhere. Now, I wouldn't mind that for 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks in a cabin would be nice. But I know that that would never be me, ever. I just enjoy people too much. I enjoy company too much. And I think this is one of the things I'm learning as I go. I've got lots of friends, lots of really lovely friends. I see less of people now than I did. That's, you know, absolutely. And there've been a couple of moments this month where I have sort of felt a bit lonely, only a couple of times, but I think that was more to do with just sort of needing someone to, you know, offload with, just needing someone to share my feelings with when things weren't going right. And it kind of made me think about the girls at work and how when you're in such a tight little team and you see each other day after day after day, you can sort of, we all do, we sort of drip feed our misery to each other. I think if you sort of, you know, the start of the day, we all have a little bit of a moan about, oh, my boyfriend said this, oh, my mum and dad are giving me grief, or, you know, what have you. We never dumping masses on each other, just a little bit. And that's really struck me this month, how much I miss that little community to just say, feel a bit miserable. So yeah, self-reliance, if you're going to go on your own, I have to just work out new ways to deal with emotions when the emotions aren't the positive ones. And actually, likewise, even when I'm feeling really joyous and positive, sometimes it'd be nice to have someone to share it with. It's not an issue, folks. Don't worry about me. Honestly, I'm fine. I think these things are all perfectly normal. It's part of the adjustment. I just have to work out new ways to do things, to handle things. Having thought about, you know, the girls at work, I was then thinking, I realised I don't miss work at all. I'm not missing it at all. All that stress, physical stress, emotional stress, don't miss it at all. Miss the girls, I'm seeing some of them again soon. I miss the kids like mad. They're always in my thoughts, but I don't miss the job at all. And here's the really fantastic thing for this month. Sorry, I've kind of talked about some really negative stuff. Talking about negative stuff, I think it's really important, not because I want to dwell on it, I'm not speaking straight, not because I want to dwell on it, and not because I'm trying to invite you all to my pity party, but just to sort of share the truth of the experience that whilst for the most part being your own boss, going solo is fantastic, there are a couple of downsides. So if you're about to up sticks and jack it all in, just bear in mind in terms of if you are an emotional person or sensitive person, how you are going to deal with things on your own. So back to not missing work, don't miss work. What has been crazy this month is I haven't missed my wage. It's been really, really amazing. Just haven't, I mean, okay, look, my fridge hasn't blown up, anything crazy like that, but I don't need for anything. And then that made me reflect on what the heck was I doing with my wages? But so, because I'm such a nerd, the other night I sat down with about 6 months of my sort of statements and my in and out accounts, and I realised that actually the vast majority of my wages were always going into savings. So, you know, again, I've set myself up. I didn't really spend much in the first place. I've got my little chunk of savings as an emergency. Just don't need anything. It's been brilliant. So I've been giving myself £10 a week pocket money, and that's for things like those little bits and bobs of food that I don't grow or haven't got in storage, so olive oil, lemons, that sort of thing. But 2 weeks ago I had my tenner, so I give myself the tenner on the Monday, and by the Saturday I hadn't had to use it. I was like, oh, I've got a whole tenner in my hand. And a friend I hadn't seen for a couple of months happened to ring up, and he lives local, and he said, we were chatting on the phone, and he said, oh, come on, let's go for a pint. I thought, I can't go to the pub. And then I thought, no, I've got my tenner. So off I went to the pub. It was great because he knows me really, really well. He knows, you know, generally what goes on in my life. So it was great to actually sit down with a friend over a pint and just chat my troubles away. And I've got to say, a pint has never tasted so good with my hard fought for tenner. Oh, it was great. And then last week I had another tenner by Friday that I hadn't spent. I was like, this is amazing. So I went to the shops, I bought myself a lump of feta cheese, a little sack of pistachio nuts, a little jar of olives, and a couple of little bottles of beer. I went off to my garden in the sunshine and had a wee picnic all on my own. I tell you what, that feta, oh, I know I go on about cheese, but it was absolutely brilliant. And I did think to myself, I thought, you know, I used to eat this sort of stuff all the time, didn't think twice about it. And what I'm loving now is that I'm just not taking anything for granted. So every little morsel of treat food or special stuff is really, I can't tell you how fantastic it is. It was so special, but so ordinary. It's absolutely wonderful. On the subject of food, not so great. I'm quickly running out of stores from last year. I think realistically I'm not going to get much out of the garden until towards the end of July. So I've just done a bit of a stock take of what I've got left. Things are going to have to be rationed a little bit. And I'm so sick of bean-based dishes. So many dried beans. Oh goodness, yeah, I'm sick of bean-based dishes. But it's okay, I'm feeding myself. But my goodness, those first boiled beans a couple of weeks ago, oh, just something new in the diet. It's brilliant. The first peas are just coming. But again, I think living like this, you know, living seasonally, living basically from whatever I can produce it's just so rewarding. It's kind of boring at the minute, but it's so rewarding because I know what's going to come, and I know that I'm going to really, really appreciate it like never before. So I think basically this month, I think more than anything I've learned that I'm probably a little bit stronger than I give myself credit for. It's okay to occasionally feel a bit lonely, that's fine. I know that whatever's going on, I've got the strength to get up the next day and just get on with things, and just deal the best I can with outside influences. One thing last month that I was getting really wrong, do you remember, was time management. And so many of you gave the best advice ever, saying, look, plan a day off. So I took your advice, and when I drew up my little plan at the end of last May for the whole of June, I made sure that at least one day a week was a day off. Okay, it didn't quite work out because of obviously going backwards and forwards to the hospital, but I've had 2 days where I have had zero guilt for doing nothing. And both of those days were spent watching tennis. One of them I was watching the tennis from Paris for the French Open, and more recently the tennis from Queen's, which is like the preamble for Wimbledon. Check everyone's form. You guys were so right. It was great because they were penciled as days off. I had absolutely no feelings of guilt for just doing nothing for the day but enjoying myself. Really kind of topped up my spirits, as it were. It was really great. So I think, yeah, you know, I'm a big planner, and it's something I've tried to learn all my life, is that no matter how much you plan, you have to be flexible, because sometimes the plan goes wonky. Like I say, you know, obviously if you're tending to a relative or whatever it is in life, plans can go wonky. For the first sort of 2, even 3 weeks of this month, I have been rubbish in my response to things. Getting exhausted, getting grumpy, feeling about everything. Gave myself a bit of a talking to, and yeah, things are on the up again now. So I am being self-reliant, and my garden is growing. There will be food to eat. I just feel that kind of happiness and optimism coming back, and somehow there's just a little part of me that says, you know what, you can do this, girl. Just keep ploughing on. So I'm going to leave you guys to your garden jobs, cooking jobs, whatever it is you're up to at the minute. Whilst I slurp some more of my tea. It's the very last of the dandelion flowers. Oh, it's so lovely, but it's all gone now. I will catch up with you again soon. I shall go for my little jaunt for a few days in the meantime, and hopefully find some exciting things to do and tell you all about it when I get back. But in the meantime, happy growing, happy storing, happy cooking, happy life. Just be happy, guys. See you soon. Take care.